The new AI-powered CEO of Xbox is out here absolutely trolling the shit out of everyone. Check this out. Actually, before we check this out, look at this. Phil Spencer. Well, Xbox insists Phil Spencer is not retiring anytime soon. This was from last year. It was the 3rd of July last year. So what happened, guys? What happened? Okay, let's get on to the new Xbox CEO. This is Asha. And yeah, so you can see here, she's over on Twitter. She's fired up a new Twitter account. She's got 43,000 followers at the moment. Of course, the CEO of Xbox. And remember, she comes from Core AI at Microsoft. And we'll get on to all these issues and we'll unravel all of this in this video. But she's been on a bit of an onslaught on Twitter. And I think this is like an attempt to win hearts and minds, right? Look. So basically, I'll show you where this comes from because the original tweet is not actually visible anymore, but I'll show you a picture of that. But I actually want to show you this. Like, so this guy's like, I don't believe you. In fact, I think your account is AI. And she replied with beep, boop, beep, boop. Okay, so here's the tweet. New Xbox CEO refused to say what her favorite 3 games are. This is already a disaster. Anyway, she says not true. For me, it's Halo, Valheim, and GoldenEye. Yeah, because she did say what her favorite games were. Do remember, though, that is a known engagement. It's not a bot account, but it may as well be a bot account, given the quality of its post. But yeah, you know, whatever. At least she's sticking up for herself. And then she replies to Xbox's account and says, should bring the Blade dashboard. Now, obviously, that's the old UI we had in the Xbox 360. So she's kind of said some cheeky, some nice, and some, like, you know, pretty cool. Does that make me sound old if I say that? Pretty cool thing so far. So this is actually, you know, this is okay. I think this is fine. So this is about platform exclusivity. And I think a lot of people are running with this and saying, oh my God, Xbox is going back to platform exclusive content. I don't think it is. This is just one of those things of, yeah, I understand. I hear what you're saying. I mean, I fucking hate it. I mean, I don't know whether you guys are like this, but I hate it when these corpo types say, we hear you. Because that's like basically them saying, fuck off. We're not listening to you. We don't give a shit. Like, but anyway, this user says, hi, Asha. As the new Xbox CEO, I hope that you understand how important exclusive games are. Now games like Halo, Forza, Gears, and Fable created an identity for Xbox and its players, becoming a key point for Xbox success. And she just says, I hear you. So like I said, people, I think, have run this way out of proportion. I'm pretty sure that she's just been replying to certain comments to just try and build like a bit of a, you know, a public image of herself up, because she didn't really have one, not in the gaming space anyway, until the other day. So yeah, I wouldn't read too much into this. Then she's also posted these like engagement bait posts, like top 3 greatest games ever, go, which is like, you know, obviously generated a lot of people you know, throwing stuff down. And you've got a lot of responses again from Asha, like, I'm listening, thanks, I'll try Borderlands 2 today. But what's interesting is she actually did, and she also, I'll show you that in a second, but she says here what her favorite games are. Halo, Valheim, and GoldenEye. Now, obviously, you can be massively cynical about this and say, look, you're obviously going to put an Xbox game first. So let's say Halo, because that's the most known Xbox exclusive IP at the time. Obviously, I know it's not exclusive now, but you get what I'm saying. Original IP, let's say. Valheim, because I'm down with the indies. And GoldenEye, because, yeah, that's what everyone always says when it's, you know, your favorite game. It's like if you ask a Hollywood actor, what's your favorite games? And they go like, Tetris? Super Mario, you know, that type of shit. Like, that's kind of what it comes across as. But who cares? Like, who literally cares about this? Okay, so she's actually given a gamer tag, not away, but she's told people what a gamer tag is. But in response to this, she says, thanks, I'll try Borderlands 2 today. And then, as you can see, there's a gamer tag. She was actually playing Borderlands 2, so she actually did do it. So fair play. Yeah, so if you want to check a gamer tag out, then go and do it. But like, I'm going to say straight away, her gamer tag is kind of irrelevant, because it's going to be an account with obviously every single game on it. Who knows if it's going to be her playing on that? Does it really matter? This is something we really need to talk about, because there's a lot of different ways you can look at this. Games are art, and you want creatives working on the games who love games. You don't want people who just see it as a product to sell. In fact, who are pushed by maybe a soulless agenda. And I think this is where the issue is with this new CEO. She comes from Core AI at Microsoft, arguably the most soulless thing going. And now she's running something which she's claiming is going to be great and authentic and creative. It's a very, very hard sell. But we'll get onto that in a second. So over on Windows Central, they're saying that I'm told there's currently no changes planned for the current Xbox next gen strategy. For now, I'll have more info ASAP. Now, what I will say is you'll see a lot of people. We're going to talk about Matt Booty as well in a moment. They'll say things like, "Yeah, we're not planning on layoffs. We're not doing this," but the language is very ambiguous. It'll be like, "Yeah, we're not planning any at the moment, but that doesn't mean we might not plan any next week." You know what I mean? So it's all bullshit. And remember, when they took over Activision Blizzard, they did say, "Oh yeah, no layoffs," and then there were mass layoffs. So I do want to look at this though, because this is really funky. So Sarah Bond was the second in command, effectively, to Phil Spencer. She was being tapped and trained as the next CEO of Xbox Gaming, or well, Microsoft Gaming, and subsequently of Xbox. She was passed over, and it was given to the new CEO, who has a background in AI. Now, she was posting Sarah Bond on LinkedIn like a few hours before Phil left, and then she left. Like, she was asking about feedback on I think an accessibility controller or something. It was not something you'd be saying if you were about to leave the company, if it was planned. So it feels like she has not got the promotion she's been working for years, and instead it's gone to somebody with a predominantly AI-focused background who is now posting on Twitter, trying to act like a cool gamer, and she is saying the right things in her announcement. She's saying, like, we're not going to use AI slot, we're not going to do this or that. Games are art, and we're going to keep them that way. We're going to empower our teams. But it's a very corpo kind of thing, right? And the proof will be in the pudding, right? In the eating of the pudding as well, definitely. But let's just take a look at this from Sarah Bond. So she says, sharing with gratitude the note that I sent to my team today. Grateful for our players and developers, partners, and team. Forever a fan of Xbox. Hi, team. I know there's a lot of news to take in today. I'm incredibly proud of what we've built together over the past 8 years plus. PC and cloud gaming are growing faster than ever. Our next console is well underway, and together we've helped lay the foundations for more open gaming platform that spans devices and reach players around the world. When we announced our intention to acquire Activision Blizzard in 2022, I committed to helping lead Xbox through that, through what will be a critical period of change. Over the past 4 years, we've navigated that moment together and positioned the business for what comes next. We took on some of the biggest challenges this organization has ever faced and did it as one team. With that, I've decided that this is the right time for me to take my next step, both personally and professionally. We're living through a transformative technological era that will shape the next generation of our industry. So remember, that could be AI she's talking about, and it probably is. And I'm energized by what's ahead. This moment also presents a unique opportunity for fresh eyes and new leadership to guide the team into its next chapter. So it's this almost like AI is going to be used, and you need someone who is AI centric to run it, not me. Could be viewed as that. I've had the privilege of spending time with Asha over the last few weeks as we've planned for this transition. And I've seen firsthand her deep commitment to our players, developers, and brand. And again, has she been doing this? Again, we don't know. She brings deep technology and commerce experience, along with a strong track record of building and scaling platforms that the world uses. Xbox deserves this. I'm excited to see her lead this next chapter for our team. I'll remain on as a special advisor to Asha to help ensure a smooth transition and to set the organization up for continued success. I want to thank Phil for his mentorship and friendships over the years. In fact, this has just reminded me, the thanking section. In Satya Nadella's post about this, he never mentioned Sarah at all. Like, she's not in it's not like, thanks for your work, Sarah. There's no mention. So I think that's, again, probably a bit indicative of bad blood. You kind of got to read between the lines. It's a bit conspiracy theorist, but if you read between the lines, I think you can kind of see what's going on. He's been a consistent champion of this business and the people who make it what it is. And I've learned a great deal from the way he leads through both opportunity and challenge. I'm grateful for his trust and support throughout my time on the team. I also want to thank Satya for his sponsorship and support throughout my time at Microsoft. As I prepare to sign off, I've been reflecting on 3 simple questions I've tried to guide my days. Did I bring my best? Did I help someone else succeed? Did I do my best work? I hope the answer has always been yes. For many of you, it's been a privilege to work alongside the team. Always, Sarah. So this is PC Gamer, and they are reporting that Matt Booty says, "Yeah, no, we're not gonna lay anyone off. No one's getting laid off. Yeah. Well, we'll check back on this in a month, and we'll see what's going on." Because your new AI boss that's running the division might be like, guess what? We're deploying AI agents and boom. Anyway, no layoffs at Xbox as a result of new leadership shakeup. New chief content officer Matt Booty says, "My focus on support. And we're not going to go into his history either. There's a lot of comments about him just like failing upwards. It's like crazy, but whatever. We're not here to break down his history. I'm sure if you know about him, you know about him. My focus is on supporting the teams and leaders we have in place and creating the conditions for them to do their best work. Okay, so you have no doubt heard about the very major takeover at Xbox today. Longtime boss Phil Spencer is retiring. Presumed heir apparent Sarah Bond has resigned. Former AI executive Asha Sharma is now in charge. And Matt Booty, head of Microsoft Studios, is now chief content officer. It's the kind of thing that makes you think about the downstream impact, particularly given the instability that's gripped the games industry over the past few years. But Booty says nothing to worry about because this does not mean layoffs are happening. Okay. So after enthusing about Microsoft's gaming new CEO, which, by the way, remember, she promoted him. Asha promoted Booty. She said that in her initial comments about taking over the role. I have promoted Matt. So he's obviously going to fucking love it. Woo! Person who's promoted me. You're great. We have good reasons to believe in what's ahead. This organization, its franchises, have navigated change for decades, and our strength comes from teams who know how to adapt and keep delivering. That confidence is grounded in a strong pipeline of established franchises, new bets we believe in, and clear player demand for what we're building. Then the relevant bit. My focus is on supporting the teams and leaders we have in place and creating the conditions for them to do their best work. To be clear, there are no organizational changes underway for our studios. Okay, so Asha has actually spoken to Variety here, so we're going to break this down. So new Microsoft gaming CEO Asha Sharma on what makes a great game and having no tolerance for bad AI and replacing Phil Spencer. So remember, her history is nothing to do with gaming. She worked at Microsoft as an intern. Then she worked. I probably should just bring a LinkedIn up. Let me just bring it up. She worked at Instacart. She then was the head of AI at Microsoft. But I'll bring a LinkedIn up just to show you. Okay, so this is her LinkedIn. So she Meta. That's the one I forgot about. So she's actually got more experiences. Let me properly load all this up. All right. So Microsoft. She was an intern, I believe, for 2 years. Then she worked at Porch Group as the chief operations officer. Then she worked at Meta as a vice president of product engineering. Then she was the CEO of Instacart. And then she's a board member at Coupang, which I think is a big South Korean. Well, yeah, it says that. I don't need to think. It literally says that. It's basically South Korean Amazon. And then a board member on Home Depot. And then she was the president of Core AI Products. She's still this, by the way, a board member of that. And then now she's on this. So you look at this and you just go, it's somebody climbing the corporate ladder, really. There's no gaming experiences here. This is just, I'm rushing the corporate ladder. I'm providing value to the shareholders and AI. Anyway, let's break the rest of this down. So let's see what she's got to say. On Friday, Microsoft Gaming announced longtime leader Phil Spencer would be. Well, I'm going to skip through some of this because we know the story. We're not going to break this down again. With them being a staple of him, she's some big shoes to fill. Okay, so telling Variety in an interview, she has deep respect for Spencer's leadership and the legacy he's leaving behind to her and now Chief Content Officer Matt Booty. Sharma was quick in laying out her top priorities for Microsoft Gaming in an internal memo announcing her promotion, noting great games, the return of Xbox, and the future of play as her three main commitments to the gaming community. So first, what makes a great game for Sharma? Those roles prior to Core AI include top positions at Instacart and Meta. The new Microsoft Gaming CEO tells Variety it's all about games with deep emotional resonance and a distinct point of view. She wants to develop stories that make players feel something, like the kind of feelings Campo Santo's 2016 first-person mystery Firewatch elicited in her. So again, it's like drop the nice indie darling games. But, you know, like she could legitimately, like here's the thing as well. She could legitimately be like a gamer. So, and these were just her corporate jobs. Like it's hard for us to tell. We can only look at, you know, the information that's out there. So Sharma takes on the mantle as head of leading competitor to Sony's PlayStation and Nintendo, knowing full well she's entering the role as an outsider to the larger gaming community and has a lot to learn. But Sharma says she's got a commitment to being grounded in what the community is telling us. I'm coming into gaming as a platform builder, Sharma said, adding that her goal is to earn the right to be trusted by players and developers and show the fan base that consistency over time. In her interview with Variety, Sharma acknowledged the tumultuous state of the game industry, referencing Matthew Ball's recent state of video game, which actually I made a really long video on. It's an interesting report. It shows you where the money's going basically in gaming. As evidence of the larger transformation of the sector is protecting what we believe in while remaining open-minded about the future. One thing I will say though is I did very specifically say in the video I did on this that it was definitely the type of thing that the money men would look at and make decisions based off and go, we need live service games, not single player games or any other kind of experience. Or if you've got a, in fact, in that document, it does specifically state that well-known established IPs have more players. So if you want to make a live service game, you basically use one of your established IPs, which we know Bluepoint Interactive were working on a God of War game. Although there is discussion back and forth about that actually Bluepoint pitched that to Sony. So I don't know what's actually gone on there, but still mental stuff. Anyway, protecting what we believe in while remaining open-minded about the future. Due to a strong background in AI, initial reactions to Sharma's appointment have raised concerns about what her specific views are on the use of generative AI in game development. Sharma says her stance is simple. She has no tolerance for bad AI. AI has been long part of gaming and will continue to be. Okay, so I think this is messing up both the terms, isn't it? AI, yeah, obviously against enemy computer-controlled enemies, opponents or whatever. That's AI. Been in games ever since games have been a thing, but we obviously don't mean that. We mean generative art assets and generative games which are not made by a person. Sharma said, noting that gaming needs new growth engines. See, that's the kind of talk we don't want, but that great stories are created by humans. Spencer's exit comes as Microsoft Gaming is approaching its 25th anniversary this fall. In an event Sharma is looking forward to, ushering in as she sets the stage for the company's future. Sharma sees it as a moment to honour the past while setting direction for the next chapter, which will include big updates out of the coming GDC Festival of Gaming next March, and even some larger announcements ahead of Xbox Next Game Showcase presentation this spring. So I've got two different points of view here, right? And this is what we need to talk about. So do you need to be a gamer to run a gaming company, right? Now, the Microsoft the Xbox division is kind of more than that, right? It's not just a small singular indie developer or a small, well, these are not small developers. Let's just say Bethesda before Microsoft bought them. It's obviously run by gamers, right? Look at Blizzard, right? The original old Blizzard, they were all gamers, right? You see that throughout history. Look at Epic, right? Look at id Software. They're all the same, right? They were gamers and they made games, and they made some of the greatest games ever. But when it scales up to a big corporation, there is maybe some argument that you do sort of need a corpo person at the helm, right? Not just a pure gaming creative. But there's two different ways of looking at this, and it is kind of complex. I do want to know what you guys think about this as well in the comments. I think I'm definitely on the side of you need to be a gamer, right? You need to be, because this is art. This isn't just a fucking product for you to find different ways to get microtransactions in. In fact, if I was at a company and that company had people that were doing that specifically and it was damaging what I was doing, I'd tell them to get fucked. Now, it's all right for me to do that because I don't work for these people, right? Obviously, if you need your job and you got to look after yourself, you probably wouldn't tell them to get fucked, but I definitely would. Someone come to me and says, we're fucking doing this, adding more microtransactions. I'm saying bollocks. Anyway, so Christopher Dring, we've covered him before in some videos, but he's the editor-in-chief and co-founder of Game Business. He says, you don't need to be a gamer to work in video games. You don't have to have a gaming background to run a game company. The industry could do with some outside thinking. But could it? So the legend Michael from Larian has retweeted this from Adrian Chilmares. I've got your name wrong. I do apologize. But he's the creative director at the Astronauts who've made Witchfire, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, and previous creative director of People Can Fly, Painkiller, and Bulletstorm. Bulletstorm was fucking great. I love that game. I love the way you could like pull them in and smack them back out. It was great. Anyway, he says this, and it's the other end of the spectrum, and I think I'm more aligned with this. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure this heavily wounded industry can take more outsiders and tourists as decision makers. I understand Christopher's point. It's not that it can never work. In fact, one of the greatest examples in history is Hiroshi Yamauchi. Yeah, Hiroshi Yamauchi. That's, I think, how you pronounce that. Who basically made Nintendo what it is today. And by his own admission, he wasn't a gamer. But cases like this are extremely rare. Let me put it this way. In my 35 years of making games, I've hired and worked with hundreds of developers. Quite a few didn't really like games or were completely indifferent. That's when I realized how vital it is for a developer to actually be a gamer. So when we started the Astronauts, it became one of our core tenets. We never hire people who don't play games. And that rule seems to be working fine for us. Of course, running a behemoth corporation might be slightly different from running an indie studio, which again is a point I made, and I do agree with that. And we don't have a gamer as the head of said corporation, and I'm not sure I can say that truly added value. Still, looking at the state the industry is in, I personally believe a new perspective isn't what's needed, but rather a return to the old one. So, like this is going to be something. So, how can I phrase this? Basically, Microsoft has got a massive push for AI. All of its capital expenditure is on AI. Satya Nadella thinks it's the future. He wants everyone using Copilot. Copilot is in fucking everything, right? That is the way the world is going. So when he looks at his divisions inside his company, he's like, I want people who believe in my AI mission in the key roles. So you can say maybe Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond were like, fuck AI. And now they're gone because of some directive which came down. And now the literal head of one of the core AI divisions inside of Microsoft is now the Xbox head. So the floodgates are well and truly open. However, she is saying, no, we're not going to generate slop. We're not having slop AI. We're not going to just suddenly become some AI machine. Maybe she means that, right? Maybe this is just all optics and bad optics because it is somebody from the AI division. Then you couple that with the fact she's got no gaming experience and you start to think, what's going on here? This doesn't particularly look like a great move, especially when you look at someone like Phil Spencer. Whatever you may think of him, he was definitely a gamer. And in some ways, you could maybe say the fact that Xbox was struggling recently could be down to him being too much of a gamer, although I don't think anyone would really say that. But, you know, I'm just trying to be devil's advocate to myself here. I firmly believe, though, you want someone who is passionate about the arts, the medium that they are representing, right? If you are in games and you're leading a big gaming operation, you've got to want to play games yourself, right? Because if you don't, you end up like somebody like Bobby Kotick, who just rinses the shit out of everything. And I dread to think what the likes of him would have done if AI was as prevalent as it was today. He would have fired all of his fucking developers and literally everything would have been a bot. I'm not even joking. All right, let me know what you think about this in the comments below, guys. I think it's some interesting early steps from the new Xbox CEO, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Like I said, we'll it's like that meme. We'll monitor the situation and see what happens in the coming weeks and months. All right, guys, I'm in Stylo, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, then let me know what you think about the video in the comments below, and you can follow me on everything, which is that Stylo. So I'll catch you lovely jubbly lot on the next one. See you soon.